Lewis.
Hello, KK.
Hi, buddy. How you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good.
Oh, that's great, man. You have officially announced this year that the KK's Priest, this new band with Ripper and Liz Bink, the drummer. How did this project has rise to become a full band, a full-time band?
Well, last year I was approached to play a few songs at the Bloodstock Festival in England. And so I did that, played about 4 songs with Ross the Boss, you know,
Right.
just for fun, really, you know, and it was good fun, you know, and I enjoyed it, and then I was I'm not exactly sure how it came about, but Dave Ellison was coming to England to play a couple of shows with his own little band, and they asked me if I would, play a couple of songs with them, and then a mutual friend of mine from Phoenix, Arizona, in America, said, he found out about it and said, well, how about we send Ripper over there and you can, make a good show of it. And I thought, well, I hadn't seen Ripper for a long time, and I just thought that it might be fun. So we kind of put a set together, we played for about an hour or thereabouts, and that was fun, and things just went from there, really. And I thought to myself, well, it's pointless unless we do an album. So around about Christmas week last year, I decided to sit down and see if I could come up with some good songs, and it went fantastically well. So I went about putting the band together, Ripper came over and did the vocals, and that's it, really. So we're pretty much good to go. We just need for the COVID to repair, and get better, and then we can go out on tour.
And how was to get in touch and to return to play along with Liz Binks after so many years?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like I say, it was really enjoyable and very nostalgic. Last year we went into the rehearsals, and it was great, really. For Les to be playing Exciter and Hellbent for Leather, and it was, and obviously when Ripper came over, and we just had, with Ripper, we only had one run through the day before with Dave Ellison as well. Those guys flew in, and it was very kind of, not that well rehearsed, but we did pretty good. It was good.
Sure, you really did. I have watched some videos from that show, and Beyond the Realms of Death, just to name one song, sounded amazing version.
Yeah, I mean, we just, because it was a first night performance, and we all felt that we wanted to play again the next night and the next night, and get really good, but that didn't happen. So, but we were quite pleased with how it went, for the first night with a small amount of rehearsals, So there's no doubt in my mind when we do the whole thing properly, it's going to be fantastic.
Right, and I don't know, maybe it's too early to think about it, but when we have shows again and the band can tour, do the shows, uh, have you ever thought to play more Team Reaper songs? For example, Cathedral Spires, in my own opinion, is one of the best heavy metal songs ever heard. It's a perfect song. Have you ever think about to play these songs or other songs?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because I mean, when we played the one show we played, we did two songs, from the album, and we only played for just less than an hour. So you know, um, so there's obviously when we play a full show and we can play a selection of songs from those records.
All right, it would be really great. Um, when
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll consider it done. That's going to happen.
great, I really want to see that. Hope you guys can come to Brazil to tour.
Yeah, me too.
Right, and
Yeah.
when you guys started to recording the album, the pandemic situation begins and you have stopped all the activities. Are you recording something? Are you rehearsing or doing nothing at this time?
Um, no, the album's completed now, so we're working with the pandemic. It's been hard because of the lockdowns, and we're in lockdown again over here, so it's tough. So we want to create some promotional videos for the album, and that's what we would like to do. But it's kind of a bit difficult to get together. But we're planning to do some stuff.
In this upcoming album, there will be some re-recording from the Priest time, or only new songs.
No, it's going to be all new material. But I can't. It's going to be all new material. There's no plans at the moment to do already recorded material.
Well, let's move to talk about a little bit about your new book, Heavy Duty.
Yeah.
For the lack of time, I just read a part of the book until now. I just read until the British Steel part, and all of
Okay.
all of it seemed very honest to me. It's good to know how your efforts have made the band grow up and become, the epitome of heavy metal. How did you came with the idea to write this book, this biography?
Well, lots of people kept asking me to write a book, and I kept saying no, and I kept saying no. And then, because now I'm getting to be a pretty old dude, I'm getting up there. I can still rock, but, I'm in my late 60s now, very late 60s. So I just wanted to document some things to hopefully to allow the fans to get to know me a little bit better, and also to try and answer a few questions for them,
Right.
And I just thought it's quite nostalgic, and it's quite something to do, really, to document your life. It's quite an emotional thing to do in places. It's quite emotional because
Yeah,
it's all
sure.
in the past. So, but I did it, and I think I'm quite pleased with the outcome. I think I was fair, so I hope people like it.
Right. And have some. There's something that I read. I think it's very interesting. In the book, you said that sometimes the band just say yes to labels suggestions. Recording some covers. Better than you, better than me. It's a label suggestion, and you and the band said yes. Do you think that was the right move at that point in time? You think that Judas Priest would be so bigger if the band said no at the time?
It's a tough question. It's a very tough thing to do. I mean, personally, I never wanted to do any covers, because I never did that from when I was very young. I always wanted to do original material. But I think it's fair to say that a couple of the songs worked really well, Green Man Alicia and Diamonds and Rust. Other songs didn't work very well, So it's kind of 50-50 really, Clovis. I think it was kind of 50-50. But at the end of the day, we had to keep the record company happy because we wanted the record company to support the band, in every way that they could, including financially, with promotion. So we had to keep them sweet, but they were a good company, They were very good to us. Columbia, Sony, they were very good.
Your book will be released here in Brazil by a book publisher called Estética Torta. Could you tell the Brazilian fans what would they expect for the book? And there will be some signed book plates along with the book. That's right?
Yes, I signed them. Yes, that's true.
And
I personally signed all of those. So, well, I would just like to say I'm very excited, really, that Brazil is going to release the book. That's fantastic for me, and I would just like to say that with the book, I wanted people to get to know me a little bit better. I wanted to try and answer some of their questions, unanswered questions maybe, and I just thought it would be good for me to leave my recollections and memoirs, for future people, when they see the videos long after I'm gone and they hear the songs, they might be interested to know how heavy metal began, because I was definitely there at the very, very beginning, and I do feel that, and I feel very proud and honoured to have been a part of the whole thing, and I feel very fortunate to have had the success, but even now still I feel as though that success is still there, and I'm still able to write incredible music and to play really, really well. So, I'm really looking forward to everyone experiencing, the band and giving the fans exactly what the fans want and what the fans deserve. And that is, a full-on metal priest. And that's what I am, I was there at the very beginning, and it's unfortunate the way things have turned out, but it's tough to be in a relationship for 40 years or more. But I feel very confident that the true priest is within me, and I'm very much looking forward to coming to Brazil and signing some books for everyone and playing some fantastic concerts.
Still talking about Brazil, I have recently received a book, and it's called The Lily of Heavy Metal by the Brazilian writer called Rita. How did she get in touch with you to this project, and have you read the book?
No, I haven't read the book. I don't know how she got in touch with me, but she got in contact with me, and it was a sad story. Her letter was passed on to me, and her sister had just died, which was pretty sad.
Yeah.
And this woman had a son. I get lots of letters like that all the time, from lots and lots of people. And I try to do what I can, to help people through difficult times. But I think sometime after that, we actually went to Brazil in 2008, I think.
Yeah, 2008,
and,
yeah.
And she came to the show, and she gave me some papers and said that she was writing a book, but it wasn't finished. And I kind of looked at it. It was a manuscript type of thing, and I didn't take too much notice of it. But I said to her, can you, I don't know what it says. Can you can you do it in English? Because she spoke English,
Yeah.
And that was it, really. I never really thought that she'd ever complete or get someone to publish a book. But anyway, she did, but I haven't seen it. I have no idea what it says. I don't know if there's any pictures in there, but that's all I know, really. I know she tried to get in touch with a couple of guys from my website and ask them some questions, but I have no idea what input they had. I had no idea that she was in touch with them, so I don't know. But it is what it is. I hope the pictures of me are good and make me look handsome. And I hope what she says is nice. But other than that, I do not know what she says about me. I don't know. I have no idea. It's a mystery.
Oh, I can assure you that she said only good words from you.
Oh, good.
That's
good.
Sure. All right. I want to move to some questions about Judas Priest. When Rob Halford left the band after the Painkiller tour, the band took some years until find Ripper, and with him, the band recorded Jugulator. That's a strong and very heavy album, almost close to thrash metal, I think, at some songs. From where came that musical heavy approach?
Yeah, I think that Robert left and he was doing his thing, And I think with Ripper was younger, I think that instead to try and just copy the original, authentic Judas Priest with Rob, that, it was kind of exciting in a way, really, to do something a little bit different. And I think with Ripper in the band, it was a change, and we had license to do some different things. And I think at the time it was. I still think a lot of the material on there is quite commercial in a way. Stuff like Bullet Train and Death Row, and some of the stuff is really kind of, stuff that's fairly mainstream subject matter, even though the riffs were probably heavier, Again, I think it was just myself and Glenn as songwriters showing, our versatility, and we never made the same album twice, That's good or bad, I'm not sure, maybe, because the fans definitely like consistency, really, I think that's true to say. But, I think that as artists, I think that to experiment and see what else that you are capable of doing is, because for me, to be repetitive is to be something that's not really conducive to going forward. It's just like standing still. So that's what we did. It just came out, but it sure is the almanac of heavy metal riffs. That's for sure.
All right, and there are some leftovers from that recording sessions. Any unreleased song from the Jugulator or not?
No, I don't think so. No.
Because I remember you guys released it at as a B-sides, two re-recordings at the time, Rapid Fire and The Grim and Alicia, two new versions with Ripper at the studio. These two versions are recorded at the same recording sessions from Jugulator?
I don't think so. I don't know when they were recorded, to be honest, I'm not sure. Yeah.
The songs Jugulator, from the Jugulator, of course, and Machine Man from the Demolition album are related in some way to the Painkiller lyrics, because to me it seems that the three songs talk about, metal machines that destructing everywhere. It was some kind of concept thing, or it just happened?
No, it just happened, really, Yeah, we were always inventing these, cyber futuristic type of metal warrior type of beings from far distant planets or something like that. That's always fun to do, and it's synonymous with metal. Really, lots of fun. Like the Sentinel as well and stuff like that. It's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. and and as you said in your book, you always was, the heavy metal guy in the band. With that said, could you tell us, maybe five heavier or faster songs in the Priest discography? Which are the five songs of Judas Priest that you think are the heaviest?
My memory's not that good. I'll have to think. When we play the stuff live, I think things like Sinner and Victim of Changes and Call for the Priest, so that, on the early stuff, and later on, obviously, Painkiller and Metal Meltdown, and and even songs like I think Ram It Down and Free Will Burning and all that stuff. I guess really.
How was the recording of the Ram It Down album? Do you like the way it was produced and the way it sounds?
Yeah, well, it may not be the most traditionally and classically produced album, but the thing is, when I play the album now, I love it. There's so much energy there, with every song. And there was some pretty good stuff on there, really. That's what I think. Obviously, Ram It Down itself was kick-ass, I think, and Blood Red Skies, and, and yeah, I like the album, and like I say, that was at a point in time, like all albums, and it's hard to denounce anything now because, they're a part of our legacy and history, and there's nothing we could do to change them anyway. And if there was, I wouldn't change a thing because it is what it is now. It's etched in stone, like all of the other records. They are what they are.
This album was mostly recorded with electronic drums. Do you think that it was a good choice? Because I think that songs like Heavy Metal and Blood Red Skies sounds perfect with that beat. Do you agree?
I think that it's exactly that. If having said what I said before, if I could change anything, I would probably change half the songs to real drums, but keep half the songs with the program drums because they sound so good for those tracks, which you've very accurately just described. It's true.
If you could back time to a special moment that you lived in your career, where would it be?
My mum keeps asking me that. My mother keeps saying that. When were you the most happiest? And it's hard for me to say that, but I'll give the same answer that I gave to my mum. And I think I was happier in the early days when we had no money, but we were playing and we were trying to be a real band and trying to be accepted by record companies and managers, and that was the fun time, really. And I think most bands will tell you that because when we were sleeping in the van and everything was hard, but we were still grinding away. Those were the real fun times, to be fair, and because we were always improving, always getting better. And then the days came where we didn't have to carry our guitars or our amplifiers. We didn't have to tune the guitars. We didn't have to do anything. Everything was done for us.
Yeah.
It took some of the fun out of it. It was great to be successful, but some of the real metal, was left behind in the pubs and the clubs.
Well, that's it. I have to say thank you Really, thank you for your time and for the inspiring music that you made and that I grew up listening. It's a very important part of my life was the Judas Priest albums, all of them. So thank you for receiving me and to have this talk.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for calling. And let me promise you this, and you are not going to believe what I'm going to say, but the best is yet to come. And when I see you in Brazil and you've heard the record and you've seen the live performance, you will say to me, KK, you were right.
Sure, that's a deal. I will look for you to say exactly it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll promise you that. And if we disagree, then we'll just have a couple of beers.
Yeah. I really enjoy beer, so that's good for me. Anyway. Thank you, man. Thank you once again.
Okay, Thomas, you take care, buddy. I'll see you in Brazil.
All right, take care you too. Bye bye. All the best.
Bye, mate. Bye, mate. Bye.